Hello and welcome to another Game Nexus arcade video. Today we're going to be taking a look at Tekken 2 version B on the Namco System 11 arcade board. Now I'm going to pop the camera off and let you take a look at how I have this set up because it took me a little while to figure this out, but right here we have the Namco System 11 arcade board with the traditional JAMA harness hooked up to here. Here's our auxiliary harness. The two alligator clips, of course, are connected to the other speaker. Then our blue and purple here are connected to the kick harness, which go into my controller interface. This is the JAMA harness's video, which takes our 15 Hertz signal, goes through the GBS 2200, and outputs 1024 by 768 video. Now, if we go down here, you'll see that we have a VGA to HDMI adapter right over here. You'll notice the VGA is going straight into that, and then an HDMI cord is coming out the other end. There we go, now we can see that. And then that HDMI cord feeds directly into the Elgato Game Capture HD. And then on the other side I have a HDMI to VGA, which then feeds into the Samsung monitor you just saw the game playing on. And the reason I have to do this is because the Elgato won't sync properly when it goes direct to VGA, so if you convert the VGA to HDMI, it will work properly with that. And if you notice over here, here's our Elgato software. And the only problem is that video converter that's down there, it actually stretches everything full frame to widescreen. So I just have to make some adjustment to the aspect ratio in Sony Vegas. And you'll notice the video isn't exactly on, like the video over here is actually a little bit off from what this is, since this is a little bit delayed on the Elgato. So what I have to do is, there's a built-in commentary option in Elgato, but the problem is that commentary option is actually synced to this. So what I have to do is, I have this plugged in, which is the PlayStation Eye camera from PlayStation 3, and I will record with Audacity the audio coming from this speaker here, which is the one connected to the auxiliary harness, and then the other speaker here, which is the one connected directly to the JAMA harness, and then I just use Sony Vegas and combine the audio and video together, and yeah, that gives us our game here. So I'm just going to go into the test menu real quick here. The only thing I really want to show you here is, let me grab my controller, which of course is our usual Neo Geo CD controller here. If you remember right, I said that the ADS data, which was the play data, was not tracked by the first game, but it's tracked by this one. You'll see here, I don't know if you can read that, but 4,117 hours, 23 minutes, and 7 seconds is what the on time is. But for some reason in here, you'll notice 6,866 hours, 46 minutes, 44 seconds is what our total all play time is. I can't see how that's possible, but maybe it's minusing something. I'm not really sure here, but you'll see all our stats there. 24,801 one-player coins, 48,100 two-player coins. So yeah, this board has been used quite a bit. Here's our character data. The most used character was Law, followed by Lei, Paul, King, Jun, Bayek, Devil, Heihachi, Nina, Michelle, Jack 2, and Lee. And then go on our last page. The best win percentages are Law, followed by Nina, Bayek, Devil, Michelle, Paul, Lee, Bruce, Jun, Lei, Anna, and Kazuya. And I can press the other button and get out of this. And we're going to get out of test mode and get right into this. So I'm going to just take my hand here and hit the thing. And let's get right into this game. And here's your intro. And as you can see here, we have Tekken 2 version B. This game has a few additions from the original arcade version, which I will go over with in this video. And now you'll see all 23 characters are selectable. And that includes a lot of different characters like Kunimitsu, Devil, that wouldn't be selected in the beginning. You'll see the ones that were selectable in the beginning were just on the selection screen there. Now, this game was released in 1995 by Namco on the Namco System 11 arcade hardware. And as I had mentioned in my Tekken 1 video, this hardware is basically spec for spec almost exactly the same as PlayStation. And now, one thing I have to say about the graphics in this game is this is like that awkward time before graphics ended up looking pretty nice in the 32-bit, like Tekken 3. And it's like the between time between, let's say, your Tekken 1 type graphics and your Tekken 2, your Tekken 3 graphics. So it's kind of like that. It looks better than Tekken 1, but it doesn't look nearly as nice as Tekken 3. But of course that goes without saying since it's the game that's in the middle of the two. And now one thing you're going to notice often in this gameplay is that my times will jump very often, because I can honestly tell you, for this 15 minutes of gameplay that you're actually seeing, this took me about an hour and 7 minutes, and then of course I took all my losses because I'd lost to a lot of characters out. And it basically went down to about 15 minutes. But this was 2 years since the first King of the Iron Fist tournament, and Kazuya Mishima decides to hold the second tournament in an attempt to finish off his father, Heihachi Mishima, in this sequel to, of course, the 1994 original. The gameplay in this game is pretty similar to the original. And just like the original Tekken game, this uses the 3D rendered characters, and the backgrounds are like kind of flat, but they're kind of like a 3D thing that was like rendered, pre-rendered, if you will. So you'll notice they look kind of flat in comparison to anything past Tekken 3, which uses full 3D backgrounds. Now, if you want to know the story here, I'll read this whole story passage to you. Jun and Kazuya were not connected before this whole thing, and Kazuya is the son of Heihachi, who is the owner of the Mishima Zaibatsu. Jun is just a worker at the World Wildlife NGO. During the Tekken 2 tag tournament, Jun and Kazuya marry. Namco never really elaborated on the nature of their relationship, seeing how they faced each other in the Tekken 2 tournament as opponents. After their marriage, Kazuya is somehow killed by his father, who was jealous because Kazuya has the devil inside him, but Heihachi always wanted to get that power and always failed in doing it. Jin, of course, is born like not too long after that. He's trained by Heihachi during this. Jin's mother is killed by the god of fight, which I think is what it says here. Yeah, the god of fight, apparently. Which is also known as Ogre, which is a character in Tekken 3 and thereafter. Jin keeps practicing until he is 18. He's training, of course, under Heihachi Mishima, and participates in the Tekken 3 tournament to take revenge on his mother and father's death. And of course, the story continues, just as usual. Now, it's another silly fact here, but Michael Jackson actually used to have this machine before he had to sell up all his assets upon all those lawsuits. And that's one thing you're going to notice a lot if you look at the time in the top. It jumps an awful lot. Now, let me see. I got the revision history here. Now, Revision 1, which is often referred to as Version A, you have the build date was August 3rd of 1995. Green text for the timer, round, insert coin, etc. No sound when being thrown by another character, like in the original Tekken. Now your version 2 is software revision TES2 version B, or TES3 version B. Build date for this was September 29th of 1995. Yellow text for timer, round, insert coin, etc. AI is modified, opponent sound effects were added to almost all throws, and they added some new moves which are listed right on here. And I can honestly tell you there are a ton of extra moves which are put in here. So if you want to see what moves were added in version 2, okay, here's some. I'll just list off a couple that were added in version 2. I'm not going to go through everything here, but like Wayne got his whirlwind toss. He also got his dragon power punch. Armor King got jumped to capital punishment. Armor King also got jumped to burning double knuckle. I'll go over a couple for each character. Lee got the Silver Cyclone, Ganryo got the Sumo pop-up and the takedown, Kuma got the Salmon Hunting, Headbutt, Grizzly Claw, King got a 10-hit combo, and some other moves were modified in Tekken 2 version B, including Quasia's Rising Sun combo is given an extra low sweep named Roundhouse to triple spin kick. Jack 2 was given a Volcano Blaster move, and it was changed from different button combinations. Ganryu's Thunder Slap move notation was changed. Basically different buttons for that. And it goes without saying, the only home console port on this was the 1996 PlayStation version, which was the year later. And another cool addition there is if you select Devil as your character in this game, and you basically press one of the kick buttons instead of one of the punch buttons, you'll get Angel, who actually wasn't noted as Angel until the console port for PlayStation. Apparently in 2003, there was a PAL release which had Tekken 2 and Soul Blade together in 2003. And then there was a mobile phone release in 2008. So this actually had a couple of different versions. And I definitely like this costume on Yoshimitsu. I definitely think he looks really good. And one thing when I saw this costume for Heihachi here with the tiger on the back, it made me think of Tekken 5, which he has a gi that he has, and he wears the tiger on the back. And one thing you'll notice a lot in this game is the backgrounds. They tend to be a little darker, and the floor just tends to only render a little bit around our characters because of the limit of the PlayStation-based arcade hardware. So it wasn't as 3D. Wasn't as nice looking in 3D as, say, the Namco System 12 Tekken 3 hardware, or of course Tekken Tag, or even Soul Calibur for that matter. And one thing that anyone who's played the future games will notice is that the characters have a lot more detail in those games, but as I said, it's not as like blocky looking as Tekken 1. It's just kind of that in-between where you get a little bit more detail on the graphics, and honestly they look really sharp. I do have to give them that, considering this is running on original PlayStation spec stuff with no help. For some reason in like these earlier games, when I face up against Heihachi, I don't know why, but I just love all the weird like grunts and like oohs he makes. So it's like, ooh? It's just, I don't know why, but I'm just always entertained by that. But one thing I find a little bit weird about this game, even though Kazuya and Devil are the boss of this, Heihachi's picture is prominently shown in the beginning. And I just find that a bit strange, whereas in the first one, Heihachi was the boss and Kazuya was shown in the beginning. I guess maybe they just wanted to reverse it, which doesn't make any sense. And of course it goes without saying, the title of this game translates from Japanese as Iron Fist 2. Now I want to go into a little bit of the detail of the history of making the video, other than that little blurb in the beginning where I showed you how I had everything hooked up. This was actually the third time I went to film this. The first time, which is really weird, it's the first time I had ever gotten to Devil on this arcade board, and the whole arcade board just simply reset. It was round 2 against Devil, I was about to fight him and of course beat him because I had won the first round, and I'd gotten a pretty good time when I was playing with that. And the board just reset and kept going, good morning, good morning, good morning. And yeah, so that play is still on the hard drive, but I'll probably delete it because it's not complete. And then the second time, well, actually, yeah, that first time it actually took a good while. It was like a good 40 minutes of gameplay. And then the second time I went to play this, I honestly think I was tired or something. I could not beat Devil no matter how well I did it, so I just gave up, honestly. But this gameplay, which I think I'd mentioned it earlier, a whole hour and 7 minutes of gameplay basically squished down to about 15 minutes once I took all the losses out. Biggest characters I lost against, you'll notice it's up to 24 minutes now, but biggest characters I lost against were Yoshimitsu, Kazuya, and Devil. I had a couple losses against some of the characters like, Paul Phoenix always seems to give me some trouble. Let's see, who else? Who's that silly guy? Lei gave me a little bit of trouble. A few of them I actually got through one battle, which was Jack 2, Lee, because he was, Law, because he was the first character. Now here's a cool bit of video here. I thought that was kind of cool that it reminds me a little bit of that whole intro in the original Dead or Alive, where you see lightning strike and then Rido appears. But normally what would have happened is the camera would have kind of lowered from the air, and then it would have done round one, but since I'd lost so many times, you'll notice that it's up to 37 minutes now. It was just a regular versus thing, but I kind of left that bit of video with Devil kind of being revealed, because I just thought that was cool looking. And one thing I definitely have to say, even though he's a big purple devil, he really contrasts very good against the black background, and I definitely have to say that's one thing going for his credit. Because, like, for instance, Kazuya's suit could look a little bit, like, dingy. I think I just might have heard myself. At this point, I was kind of getting tired of losing from Devil, and I think when he shot me with the laser beams, I said, was that really necessary? But, yeah, there's a couple times where I, like, got really mad, and then, like, there's one like, really off-color comment I said to Yoshimitsu after she beat me for, like, probably the 5th or 6th time. But, I was saying that Kazuya's suit tends to, like, kind of, disappear against the black background, whereas Devil really contrasts. Now, this is something that I really have liked in the Tekken series, how they show you how you beat each fight, which I always thought was really cool. And I probably mentioned it in every other video, but like when you do this in Tekken 4, you can hear the disc going crazy loading, because when it freezes like that on the credits, it has to load off of the Tekken 4 disc, whereas this is just ROM board, so there's no need to do that. But I definitely have to say about Tekken 2, I'd even go as far as to say more so than Tekken 1, but unless maybe it's the tweaked AI from the version B, but Tekken 2 is a really hard game. Unless you're really like a Tekken master, you're going to have a really hard time in defeating most of the enemies in this game. But other than its harsh learning curve and a lot of the, just like in Tekken 1, a lot of the moves that I'm so used to using not being present, I highly recommend this game for anybody who likes fighting games. Tekken, of course, if you're an arcade collector, you will want to get the board, but if not, you'll want to use the silly emulation thing in Tekken 5, the arcade history, or pick up the PlayStation version. But I definitely have to say this is an excellent game, and I can highly recommend it. And if you see here, I'm actually the first person to beat this as Yoshimitsu with this board, so that's why my 38-minute time actually held up. But if I beat it with Jun, it looks like I'll actually get a time as well. But yeah, that's Tekken 2. An excellent game, very hard compared to the modern games, but definitely worth your time. And there's Heihachi looking all menacing again, even though he's not the boss. But I shall see you later in my next video. Bye.